And during the few moments that we have left, we want to talk right down to earth in a language that everybody here can easily understand.
Compelled to use how many? What is the number of them now?
Well, there's no standard nomenclature for the non-gender or for the non-binary types. There's many invented words, and which of those you're supposed to use is dependent entirely on the subjective choice of the person that you're talking with.
Now, most people, I believe, out there listening are going, "What the hell are they talking about right now?" We're talking about as many as 70 plus invented gender pronouns like Z, XE, ZER, HIR, a bunch of weird ones. And this is for people that don't necessarily think they're a he or a she.
Now let's conjugate the verb to swim with the other pronouns. She swims. They swim. ZER swims. Z swims. Zai swims. What's wrong?
I don't understand.
That's okay. I don't understand, and that's all right, Luis. So I is the first person pronoun used when you're referring to yourself.
Yes, I understand I, pero I don't understand what is that.
They are all gender-neutral pronouns.
What does that mean?
Gender-neutral pronouns are what you use when you're referring to someone who doesn't want to be referred to by traditional masculine or feminine pronouns, like he or she.
So not a boy, not a girl.
That's right, Yuki.
Is he gay?
No. Well, not necessarily.
My brother, he gay. Is he one of them?
Do you know your brother's preferred pronouns?
I don't know. My family not speak to him.
Yeah, worse shit. She don't do nothing.
Okay, cultures are different. It's important when studying and practicing English that you stay sensitive to the pronouns of others.
Not the boy, not the girl.
That's a table, Farhat. It is a table. You see, the table didn't choose its gender. Objects can't do that, but people can.
Some of these ideas that are not just being promoted, but are being enforced and written into law. And one of them is about gender pronouns. What we mean by gender pronouns is not just he and she, but a whole slew of invented gender pronouns that you're going to be compelled to use.
Yeah, you're already compelled to use, and likely in the States too, even though people don't know it yet.
You have animal kin, which is
other kin, including worm self, which was the one I found most amusing.
Worm self, fox
I guess
kin.
that's for the low self-esteem otherkins.
This is people that truly believe that they are in the wrong body and that they should have been born some form of animal and would like you to refer to them as this animal.
Or elf.
Or elf.
Mm-hmm.
Or fairy.
Or fairy.
I've seen pixie.
Yeah.
Pixie kin.
I haven't seen Pixiekin. That's a good one.
But just get on Tumblr. Got to get on Tumblr.
Right, yes, absolutely.
That's where it all goes down.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
This person, whoever this professor was, is expert in transgender studies.
Nicholas Matt.
It's not correct that there is such a thing as biological sex, and I'm a historian of medicine. I can unpack that for you at great length if you want, but in the interest of time, I won't.
That I have an IQ of 48 and am what some people call mentally retarded.
I'm pretty sure that used to be a woman, or she, they. You're not allowed to say that. If you say that, you're a bad person. If you say they. And they and them is the most reasonable of these these alternative pronouns, they and them. Like you could say, if you know a guy and he doesn't know how to swim, they should probably stay out of the pool.
And they is used to repair awkward sentences, basically,
Yes.
but it's never been used, despite the claims of the gender bender activists. It's never been used for the singular, and we shouldn't give up the distinction.
Language,
we shouldn't give up the distinction between the plural and the singular.
No, it's
we
ridiculous.
actually need to know whether it's one person or more than one person.
I think they are sick and they need help.
What is a sign? Is homework?
No. A sign is how you look on the outside, but how you feel on the inside, that is how we identify.
Identify swim.
Really, Farhad?
I am confused.
You shouldn't be confused, Yuki.
Sorry.
It's really not that hard, you guys. There's only 63 pronouns.
63 pronoun.
Yes, and it's important before speaking to anyone that you ask, what is your preferred gender pronoun?
What's your name?
My name is Henya, and I use she pronouns.
So what are the pronouns?
Pronouns are she, he, or they.
Why do you think that it's important for me to use she and her pronouns when I talk to you?
Because it's not nice to call someone a he when it's a girl or whenever it's a boy.
Thank you for teaching me what pronouns are.
You're welcome.
Have to ask everyone that?
Yes, of course. Louise, what if you accidentally referred to a Z as a za? Wouldn't you be embarrassed?
No.
Of course you would. You should be embarrassed. And you know what else? It's offensive, right?
Right?
And you want to be a gender ally, right?
Right?
You're not learning English to be a bigot, are you?
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Which seeks to basically write biological sex out of the script altogether, to basically say that if I were to say I am a woman, that is somehow causing offence to somebody who is in a state of gender confusion. Now, I think that is not only absurd, and is not only sort of draconian and even totalitarian, but it is denying me my right to say what I am, which is a woman.
Do you think that is what's happening?
I don't think that is what's happening. I think what's happening, it's all about equality. It's all about recognising that some people self-identify as a different gender and they should be given the opportunity to do that. And I think it's the kind of society that we want to live in terms of looking after people's mental health and well-being, and just saying that we need to be mindful of people's circumstances and what they're going through.
Jace, what do you think?
That's not what's happened. If you look at the proposal for the census, the proposal
census.
that people should not be required to say whether they're male or female, the proposal, the sort of consultation document says that it was thought to be irrelevant, unacceptable and intrusive to be asking about sex. But the crucial point is this: the option of adding a third choice of other, male, female, other, was considered problematic because it was thought to homogenise trans people and differentiate them from the rest of society. Now, so here you have a situation where, in my view, that's what should happen. If the census people, if people are concerned that transgender people don't find a place in the census questionnaire which simply says, are you male or female, fine, have other. But no, you can't have other, because to have other would somehow cause offence, in which case I cannot say on the census, I can say on the census that I am a woman, but the census overall will no longer be reliable as the principal source of statistical information about men and women in the country.
And isn't that
can't be.
I think it's about terminology. So as I understand it, having read it, I read it that it wasn't about, they were going to change the language of sex to gender. And so it's not that you'd be denying saying whether you're male or female, or either it would be just changing the language from sex to gender, which I agree with. I think it's important that we understand what the makeup of the country, both in terms of male, female, transgender. It's important that we understand. And I also think it's important to kind of note that ensuring that somebody has their equal rights doesn't take away from anybody else's equal rights. So equality is equality, and that's where we should come from as a base of understanding.
I mean,
and as I said, I think we have to be mindful in regards to how people feel and the journey that they're going through in terms of their sexuality. And I really think we just need to take it, as I say, with care and compassion as we talk about these issues, as we talk about the act that's coming before Parliament, and we make sure that everyone feels comfortable talking about where they are in themselves.
Right, Melanie?
Well, the only people who won't feel comfortable are people who are likely to be called transphobic if they say they are men or women. And if they say that certain people are men or women, if somebody gives birth, it's not a pregnant person, it's a pregnant woman. That person who says it's a pregnant woman is likely to be called transphobic, and as we saw with the case of Germaine Greer, is likely to be howled off the stage. This is a weapon for a very authoritarian, very intolerant set of attitudes masquerading as compassion.
I've been accused of inciting violence against transsexual people. That's absolute nonsense.
But do you feel that the transgender community has too big a voice now? It seems to me you're saying that they're becoming what feminists were often called strident.
Yes, but they very seldom were strident, alas. I think that a great many women don't think that post-operative or even non-post-operative transsexual M to F transsexual people look like, sound like, or behave like women. But they daren't say so.
But just because they daren't say so doesn't mean that that person can't feel like that and feels more comfortable with themselves.
Yeah, but so what? That's not my issue. I don't even talk about it. Not everybody does feel comfortable, by the way, post-operatively. There's been a couple of cases I found very interesting where the actual acceptor of the procedure has felt that it's been a disaster.
But for those who do not feel it's been a disaster and feel more comfortable, then do you understand how they might feel that you have been hurtful towards them?
People are hurtful to me all the time. Try being an old woman. I mean, for goodness sake. People get hurt all the time. I'm not about to walk on eggshells.
For example, what is Yuki?
Girl?
Well, maybe. We don't want to misgender Yuki.
Yes, I'm a girl.
You could be.
I am.
Yeah, but you could also be someone who was assigned female at birth, but now identifies as non-binary. So we would, in fact, use a gender-neutral pronoun for you, like Z.
You're neither male nor female, right?
That's true. I identify as non-binary, which means I'm neither male nor female, and correspondent to that, I use the they, them pronoun.
And you say gender roles are damaging our society, so we need to think very carefully about language, yeah?
Yes, so a lot of our social selves are codified and encultured in the language that we use. We really use it to construct our entire society. And what's certainly true is that there is a huge variance of gender presentation and gender identity within humankind. There isn't simply
humankind,
men and women. Exactly, humankind in place of mankind.
You wouldn't say mankind, that should be, you know...
I wouldn't, just because humankind is a more accurate descriptor, in the same way that me using they, them is a more accurate descriptor of my identity than using he or she.
Would you use homo sapiens?
I very rarely in my life use scientific language to describe the people I work with.
Wise man, it means. Okay. But it's something, do we need to think about that?
I think we should be thinking about the evolution of language to support gender neutrality.
Yeah, got you.
And that's for a number of reasons. The first of which is that it stops this assumption that either the most important people in the room are men or that the only people in the room are men. And secondly, it does include that wider spectrum of gender. In universities, a bit like the University of Hull, universities in Germany, the lecturers are using gender-neutral language to refer to students because it's inclusive of everyone and gives that space for trans people who are neither male nor female.
Yeah, it's a matter, Andrew, there you are. It's a matter of courtesy, this, and sensitivity, isn't it?
Courtesy is all very well. I mean, you're describing encouraging people to use certain words. My problem is when words are policed, when language becomes policed. That is my problem. I mean, look, we can all go back to... We can all go back. Those sorts of things, humankind or mankind, I mean, those are sort of interchangeable now. They're synonymous anyway. We're talking about when people actively, and it is a minority of activists, it really is a minority, seek to have people disciplined or sacked because they refuse to use language that they are imposing. That's not the evolution of language, that's the imposition of language, and I think that's problematic.
What about people who are non-binary? What about people who are gender fluid?
We're all male and female. We've always... Yes, of course, we're all male and female. There are
what about transgender people?
There are a tiny minority of people who have intersex conditions, and there are a tiny minority of people who have some condition where they may have a female brain and a male body. Apart from this, we are all male and female, and the attempt to suggest that there is a third gender is, as far as I'm concerned, it's an ideological and a political project. It doesn't exist. The words... Male and female have existed throughout history, throughout the world. They refer, men are people who have penises, women are people who have vaginas. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. I would absolutely refuse to refer to this woman here, who's clearly a woman, as a they, because for me that would be imposing an ideological political system. Because she is. If everybody watching this programme can see that she is a woman.
I have a stuffed animal that he feels like he's transgendered. So he feels like inside he's a girl, except he's really just a boy. Oh, pretty cool.
Okay.
All right, Luis gets it. Okay, so who is still confused?
The swim.
Why do you have to move on?
I had to move on. I've been in this house way too long.